Hi everybody, I'm Lucas, the face behind Not Terrible Restorations, also known as Dr. Beer. And I promised you to do a Q&A in order to bridge a certain time that I need for my next project, which is a little bit bigger. I will tell you more about it right now because I'm not sitting here alone. I will not ask myself the questions. I have someone with me, and the one is Lance Hedrick. Lance runs a huge channel. It's all about coffee. He's one of the experts about coffee. I think he has very distinguished taste buds. So we're having a beer here as well, local beer for later. So yeah, let's start with it. Maybe Lance, you want to say something about yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Dr. Beer. I came out here, if anyone's wondering, to do a project on an old espresso machine. So that's what we're working on currently. Came out here for a few days with my videographer, and we are pulling it apart and blasting it down and getting it ready to be restored to a place where it can be used probably better than before. So we are very excited about that. I've made a lot of requests that he is not the most comfortable with, but it's going to be my machine, so I'm going to put some wood on it. I'm going to put some colors on it that weren't there before, so it's what I want, so get over it. But anyway, it's been great getting to know Dr. Beer, and the funnest part is to know that his last name is actually Beer, and he is actually a doctor with a PhD in mechanical engineering. So that's a fun fact.
That's a fun fact, yeah.
So did you start drinking beer because your last name is Beer?
I don't think it was the reason why I started drinking beer, but it's definitely the reason why I do the beer tastings on the channel, because it's a nice coincidence.
Yeah.
I wanted to have something unique to my channel, so I started this beer tasting because of my name.
That's awesome. I never knew that, and I've watched his channel for a while, and I just thought it was a fun, quirky thing. But having that connection to the name, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing. I like it. Yeah, well, so today I'm going to be asking some questions to Dr. Beer that you all have put on his community post. And so we've chosen a few of those to go over, and you'll get to hear from the man himself, his responses, his thought processes, why he started this channel, what he's wanting to do in the future, and different things like that. So, you about ready to get started?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. Let me pull out the questions. All right. So, first question is from Dirty Badger NTB. What a great username.
Name.
I want to hear about how you first got interested in restorations.
How much time do you have?
Let's say 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay.
Max.
But I have to start very early. Me and my dad and my brothers and sisters, we were always in vacation on our little boat. It was all made of steel. And so there was a lot to do. So we started early on, like fixing rust spots, grinding them off, repainting them while we were traveling. At home as well, this developed. My father had a workshop. He took us to the workshop in the most traditional way, let us hold the flashlight, complaining about the flashlight, how we hold it. So this all got me very, very familiar with workshops. I guess that's why I'm comfortable also with taking a challenge on and just trying to fix it, because he always showed us that everything is fixable in a way.
Sure.
The first time where I lived alone, where I got my own tools, all hand tools, and I fixed some bikes for my girlfriend at that time. And later I fixed an old motorcycle from the 70s for myself. And I was always doing those projects, and then during Corona, beginning I was really enjoying it. Then I got bored. I started watching videos, like My Mechanics a lot. And I started watching those videos. At the same time, I was doing it in my backyard. And then I thought, why not film it? Why not put your own channel out there? And so that's how it started with the YouTube. But the restoration thing it came with my dad.
Nice. So your dad was doing it a lot. You liked the process of seeing something defunct turn into usable. And that was, I guess, really satisfying, right?
Exactly.
And a sense of accomplishment.
In sense of accomplishment, and also in the sense of sustainability, definitely. I mean, with those old machinery, with those old tools and appliances, you can fix anything because it's all metal. It is all mechanics and understandable. I really struggle with electrics.
Sure.
From time to time I need to dig into it, get my hands on it, like with our new project. But it's not my comfort zone. I need to watch a lot of YouTube videos, read a lot in order to fix it with help, so to say.
Sure.
But mechanical stuff, that's something, maybe because of how I was raised up, but I can understand machinery when I see the inside of it.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense. So just kind of understanding intuitively how something works, you're able to take it apart, put it back together, and maybe even improve upon its design.
Yeah, that sets me apart from my dad. My dad was very pragmatic on his fixings. So I always remember he fixed the phone once for my mom back when was a tab on the battery pack.
Yeah.
And this was broken, so he took a metal sheet and bolted it with wood screws onto the phone. It worked, but no one would do it, you know.
Sure.
So that's what sets me apart. I really, and that I got from my mom. I really
Resurrect the former beauty.
the form of beauty.
pontificate
My
on
mom
it.
was always handcrafting and doing the arts with us. My mother's side's very artsy, so that's where this coming from. And yeah, I really like to make it as good as possible, and also put in some parts my personal ideas in design.
Sure.
You will see it on handles, you will see it on coloring. So I take the freedom and, you know, make it unique
Yeah.
on my ideas.
Nice. They're kind of taking the pragmaticism of your dad, the creativity of your mom, and letting your own personality shine through with these projects.
Yeah, so it sounds beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I do it.
That's how you do it. No, I love what you do with these projects, and the colors that you're choosing, and the way that you approach it in a very aesthetically pleasing way that is both respecting the tradition behind whatever machine you're using, but also kind of modernizing it in a way that gives it its own kind of vibe and kind of aura. Now, I've noticed that you, while you do a lot of restorations, you also take on other types of projects that aren't necessarily strictly restorations. So, is this something you planned from the beginning of the channel, or is this something that came along as you've been going? So, I've noticed you've been picking up a slew of different skills that aren't necessarily required for the typical restoration channel on YouTube. So, can you kind of speak to that?
Yeah, I'm happy to do so, because I think my least popular videos are the ones where I get out of the channel frame that I set with the name. I set a frame for myself, which I don't want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I restore stuff that I need at that moment.
Yeah.
And so it's not all kitchen appliances.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all tools.
Mm-hmm.
I take, let's say, a vise
Mm-hmm.
because I need it,
Sure.
restore it, then I use it. My girlfriend has a birthday. She likes coffee, has no machine. I take the Pavoni.
Yeah.
That's how we met, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
You like the Pavoni video?
If you haven't watched it, watch the Bavoni video. It is a wonderful restoration of an espresso classic from 1979. So if you're into coffee, it is absolutely gorgeous. I had the pleasure of using it, and it is as good as it looks. But anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah, no. So this is the frame I set for myself. This is why I started restorations on YouTube. But also, this is not my main job. I have a main job, 9 to 5, and I take the time that I spend on YouTube for stuff I need. So I want it to be as much freedom for me as possible. When I need a engagement ring, I have the idea, I make it myself, and then of course I say, okay, why I make it? Let's film it, and then I put it on YouTube. You know, when I'm having restored a giveaway and I need a box for it, I make it out of plywood, and that's then a video. So that's a freedom I take for myself.
Sure.
Even though it's not popular, but that's just how I run it.
So I think it's safe to say that while you fully respect, love, and practice the art of restoration, you also have room for other projects that recycle and reuse things that might be abandoned by society in order to repurpose them or to give them a new life, but just with a different spin on it in order to make it maybe more usable or more sellable in the sense that it is, pleasing to the eye of people who visit, or could be a shelf piece that might not be exactly what it once was, but is still showing some of that originality about it.
Yeah, you can sum it up like this.
Nice, very nice. I also loved in your ring video you used a past restoration in order to create it, which is actually sitting right across from us right now.
Right over there. Maybe we switch.
Yeah.
Over there.
So it sounds like you're doing more creations than just restoration projects, because you are sometimes creating a new life for something that has maybe died. You're resurrecting something that has long been forgotten. But there are times that you take lots of creative freedoms, which is kind of nurturing that, I guess, maternal side of your personality with that artistic aesthetic side, and able to make something that's maybe new or just a bit different than what it was, which is absolutely fantastic. Anyway, that's enough blabbering. Let's get to the next question. Next up is from someone whose username is Boobelhaftish. Probably butchering that. Can we learn about the YouTube restoration community? You all seem to know and be supportive of one another. Is there anyone you admire and learn from in the beginning? Like, for instance, if you all have followed his channel for a bit, he had a little showdown with Mr. Patina, who's another great YouTube channel you should check out. But can you talk a bit about the community and the background of it, and how many people you might know, et cetera, how that community works?
Yeah, and that's, I think, every one of us would answer the question very differently. For me, to start with, who inspired me, I mentioned him already. It was my mechanics, hand tool restorations, or hand tool rescue. Sorry, so sorry. So I watched those channels while I was not doing it myself. Then when I started, it was, I think, half a year after Mr. Patina started it, and I found out that he was actually living in the neighbor city. I texted him. He answered. And I don't know, maybe a week later we met for the first time in person, and ever since we are showing each other our videos before we publish them. We are meeting with our partners and have dinner together. We are texting each other on certain steps in the project. When we messed up, I receive videos from him when he messes up. Just without a comment, just sharing, just get it out, just vent a bit. So this is definitely my closest partner in this community. Then along the way, I met a few other ones, mostly online. Big fan of Cool Again, in contact with him. So it's the same vibe. I mean, we're all doing the same. We have the same interest in restoration. We have the same interest in filming it, the same struggle filming it,
of course,
while doing it.
I can speak to that, watching his process. You should very much appreciate the videos, because he works incredibly hard on them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not like it takes the same amount of time. If you have the camera and you switch the angles, you have to work around the camera. It is an awful lot more work doing the restoration itself. And they share the same struggle.
Yeah.
They share the same aesthetics. They are similar but different, the channels, and they share the same appreciation for old mechanics, same sustainable idea of keeping those very rusted parts alive. Yeah, and then there are many channels, and I need to speak about it, sorry, but who are not following the same ideals. A big thing is artificial aging with acid for a good thumbnail, for a good start, and then you just scratch off the surface and then it's perfect again, and easy job. But I stay away from those channels, but I really crawl into YouTube searching for new ones. So it is still my passion to watch restoration videos, because it gives you ideas, you learn from it a lot, and then it's just pure fun and relaxation doing so. So I crawl into the rabbit holes. Whenever I find a good channel, I always leave my comments to do my part, and maybe it leads to another contact. So
nice. Yeah, so I said earlier that I've done some restoration type things. I don't do nearly what Dr. Beer does. I am like his dad. I am pragmatic. I just make things work again. So if something's not working, I can figure out a way to make it work again. It may not be pretty. It likely isn't the best way. I'm just making things work. But I'll tell you what, I watch these restoration videos and I go, you know what, if I had $100,000, I could buy that equipment and probably do it, because it's just the equipment holding me back. This weekend has been a wake-up call. It is not that easy. Oh my God. I'm sorry, but I just need to say, unless you're actively doing these things, it's not easy. And it's been incredibly eye-opening and very fun and invigorating to be able to watch him do his thing. So let's, I guess, move on to the next question.
Next question.
The next question is from M to the T. How many hours per week do you set aside for restoration and video editing? Do you always manage to do this in parallel with work and family?
Well, that's that's a tricky one.
Sure.
I mean, it's depending on the project. and it's depending on your timeline. Is it crunch time already? Are you late into the project? I mean, I want to publish every month. I barely do it because I run into problems, have to redo stuff. So I would say on average I spend like 25 to 30 hours a week on the workshop.
Top of your 9 to 5.
On top of my 9 to 5. So I do my 9 to 5, and then in the evening I go to the workshop, spend here like 2 to 3 hours, then come back home, then we have dinner, and then it's cuddle time. So
Nice.
I try to give and spend as much of my leisure time with my fiancé.
Fiance, if you've not seen the ring he made, you should go watch that video. I know we talked about it a bit earlier, but goodness, it's gorgeous, and that's his first ring he's ever made. So it's mind-boggling how many different skills he's picked up since he started this channel. I know that's an aim of you just want to learn how to do stuff, but it's really cool. It's cool watching someone who is learning alongside the audience, but also executing at such a high degree first try. It's really inspiring, honestly.
Thank you. No, but I need to go on with this thought because Hannah, my fiancée, is so supportive of the channel. She really gives me the time and support to operate it. Because also on the weekends I spend at least one full day in the workshop, and then my goal is always to finish after 3 weeks, and then it's one week of editing because I make way too much footage. Always, I have way too many clips. I could do 1 hour videos. I know that some people would appreciate, but I also know that a lot of people wouldn't even click on it if it's too long. So you always have to balance. You want to grow your channel.
Yeah.
You want
Do what you wanna
to
do.
satisfy the people that are already hooked, who could watch you for hours maybe. And you need to balance it, and that's what I do with the edit. So it takes a long time, almost a week. And when I'm not hitting this timeline, when I realize, okay, I'm a week late, I'm 2 weeks late, then it's getting more time in the workshop actually.
Sure.
So the one project that comes to my mind is the garden tool for my mom for her 60th birthday. And there the deadline was not my video publishing, the deadline was her birthday. So I was the night before going home for her birthday, I was in the workshop till 4 in the morning till I finished it. Then in the morning I came to the workshop, did the final treatment with linseed oil, and just put him to the car and drove home. So yeah,
That's stressful. So the next one is more of a request than a question, but it's from WrinkledBeast3479. People, you gotta work on your usernames. I'd like a brief video tour of your workspace. It's been a while since you moved in there, and there are plenty of new tools in there now. Is that something you're willing to do?
I mean, we are going to do it.
Oh, well, there we go.
But just a few words before it. When I rented this place, renovated it, you can see the video of this as well, I had way less tools. I had way less material. And now this whole workshop is packed.
Yes.
So it's not in the state it used to be. It's a workshop, so please keep that in mind. But yeah, let's do the tour.
Nice, let's do it.
All right, then let's have a look. So here we have my oven. I built it myself. It's a Frankenstein out of an oven and a smoker. It is now big enough to host all the big parts that I need for my new project. So I specifically built it, and it will take great care of me in the future. So then next to it is sandblasting cabin. Sandblasting I actually film with my phone, so I tape it onto this window, and yeah, that's what actually the tape is for. Then we have my welding. Next to it comes the lathe. So as you all might have noticed, it's not only a lathe, it's also coming as a stationary drill, and it also will work then as a mill. So 3 machines in one. Then if we move on, here we have a table saw, grinder. Here you can see how I film. Mostly I need both studio lights. Yeah, then over here is my setup. I film with a Sony AX53 and of course a monitor, another oven, my shadow board. The ventilation you can see is going into this old chimney. The chimney is actually closed up at the top now. So this is my painting booth in a way. And also it's now my blacksmith area where my forge is. So hopefully soon I can make a project with this one. My wood area, here I store all my precious woods. Then the corner of doom. Yeah, this is where I have restorations I plan. I bought stuff here in the box, also very interesting. And all the materials I need, and this is all in this corner, along with a laser cutter. Then also in the middle I have a second workbench which is movable, which comes in handy because most of the time I need every space I can get. And when I shoot my thumbnails I always do it in front of a neutral background so it's less distracting. And yeah, that's about that. Oh. Sorry, always happens.
All right, so next question. This is a personal one. I'm curious, which of your restorations or projects or video has been your favorite? What's been the most joyful, the one you're most proud of, the one that, like, if you could tell someone that's wanting to watch your channel, what should you watch? What would it be?
From a editing perspective, it would be the sled. I did a lot of stop motion, a lot of creativity because there were a lot of similar jobs, a lot of same screws. You can't show every screw.
Yeah.
So I got really creative. Also, it wasn't a job I could fully oversee all the time. And I just was able to take the time to do this. So the editing I loved the most on this one. This was the most fun project. Then I would say the project, the restoration from a final result point of view, I'm the proudest of would be the candy cane roller.
Oh yeah.
You saw it yesterday. But then the one I'm most attached to, obviously, is a series of 3 projects which all like grab into each other. It was the hatchets I made when my dad passed out of the blanks that my sister forged. It was the start of a series of projects I did that became very personal, dear to me. Then I continued with and that's the red line here, I continued with the gold wire roller, which was the last birthday present I received from my dad. And with this gold wire roller I made the 3rd project, the engagement ring, which opens up to a hopefully great future. So they all belong together, they are all dear to me, those last 3 projects. And that's...
Wow. That's poetic. That's beautiful. I know, I love that. I didn't realize the connections so intently. That was well put. So Paul Sharp asks, what restorations did you enjoy the most? We kind of went over that, but the second part of the question I think is a really good one. What is your favorite piece of equipment that you use in your restorations? Or what's your favorite tool?
Oh, and now I know the answer right away. It's the lathe.
Like you're bathing, it's a lathe.
I only need to write it, so
I
know how to write it, but it's in German. It's a Drehmaschine.
Drehmaschine.
Yeah, so that's my most favorite piece of tool. Not the specific one, but it gives me the freedom to actually do and refabricate everything I want. Awesome. It is a drill press. It is a mill. It is a lathe.
Yeah.
And that would be the one.
Oh, very nice. It's been really fun asking you questions, but I think I'm a little hot down here. I'm a little quenched. I think we have these beers that have been tempting me this whole time. So I think we open them up. How about that?
Yeah, do it. And a word about beer, it's coming from my hometown Darmstadt, Grohe. It's a very, very small brewery. I think it's only sold in Darmstadt. Owned by a bigger brewery, also from the city, Braustübel. And I just picked this one because you're here in Darmstadt, a very small town for no one on the map.
Never come.
Yeah, so let's have a Darmstadt beer.
Oh, that's really nice. That's really nice. Well, that actually leads me to the next question, which is going to be pretty fun. Zardox2 says, rate it or not, what is your go-to beer? Like, you walk into a bar, they have every beer you can imagine. What are you ordering?
So, ranked number 1 right now is Giesinger from Munich. It was a fantastic beer.
Style?
It is, in Germany, it's a hell.
Okay.
Which means bright, not like, it's written the same, but it's not like hell.
Yeah.
So it's a hell, but it's also called an export in other parts of Germany. and in the international context, it's a lager.
Okay.
So that was a really good beer, but I had it only the first and last time when I was here
Okay.
in the shop testing it, because I didn't get my hands on another bottle yet. The one I order the most, and I'm always happy to see on a menu when I enter a restaurant or so, is Lamsbräu. It's a brewery that had a breakthrough throughout the last years, I would say. It's all organic ingredients. Of course, in Germany we have the Reinheitsgebot, which means into a beer there's only a certain amount of ingredients allowed to. I don't know the English words, so I don't get into this now, but they are all quite good. There's no artificial stuff in it, but Lamsbräu takes it a step further and also only uses organic ingredients, and you can taste it. It's just, it's a smooth beer. It's great in the summer.
Cool.
A lot of fizz, and yeah, just a great beer.
That sounds nice. Now, I now live in Europe, but before moving here, I was very big into the American beer scene. All right, and there's actually a question about that, and this will be the final question before we just have a little beer banter. Why haven't you drank our nasty American beer yet? Obviously, that's a loaded question, but I think we understand the who's asking it. And anyway, so what's your response? And you better tread lightly.
Okay, first set the frame again. You're American asking this question. I think what's his name again? Not this guy again. I think it was him. I saw the question.
This guy again. 8557.
So he's a strong supporter of the channel, on there since many videos. So. He's American. He's asking this question. I personally, of course, don't test beers to bash them. So when I know already I'm not gonna like it, I probably don't put it on a video. So that being said, that's why I don't taste Budweiser,
things
Miller.
Like a lot of them are owned by similar companies.
That's why I don't put those brands on the channel. I tasted those beers. I don't specifically like it. But I know for a fact that there's a great development in the American beer culture. A lot of micro breweries, a lot of craft beers coming up. I've tasted them, a few of them. I like them, but in general, I'm not a big fan for myself of IPAs.
Yeah.
And a lot of those beers are IPAs.
Yeah, so like, you know, for people who might be watching that aren't familiar, in the States there is a lot of innovation in brewing, but it mostly revolves around like yeast fermentation and inoculation and messing around with these different strands. It's creating things like the New England style IPA, the West Coast IPA with like Trillium Treehouse or Monkish. It's with like other half, it's like with these slushy beers, these double, triple IPAs, but they're all centered around this idea of IPA. And then outside of that, it's like sours and gozes, which don't really taste like beer. So for you, IPAs, things that are not kind of that old world style beer, they're just not really
exactly, because they are also hard to compare. You know, when the beers I take on my video, I rate by the same system. I want to have the comparison in a way, and then with those IPAs, you have a lot of fruity notes in it that overpower. For my taste, for a traditional beer,
in a way different sense of perception. I mean,
in a way different,
in a way different perception of bitterness.
Yeah, of bitterness, acidity. So, and this makes it then hard for me to compare, because then I taste raspberry, but not in slight note.
Yeah.
I taste raspberry.
Yeah.
You know, and then how to compare it to a beer that is a beer from its taste and has a note, a hint of raspberry.
Sure.
It's very different.
Very different.
Yeah.
Like if you have daily serving from Trillium, that's just a straight up raspberry slushy, essentially. It's not really a beer, though they call it a beer. Granted, I love that. Cutting tiles from Trillium is one of my favorites. But no, it's interesting. There's a big difference, and I know a lot of people tend to be on the IPA side or the other side. But yeah, as someone who drinks the ones you drink, which are like something like a lager, obviously it's called like a hell here or something, pilsners and the like, there's no real point in getting the ones made in the US because y'all are making them left and right out here. So the real point of getting American beer would be getting the ones that aren't necessarily suited to your taste.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's why you don't drink crappy American beer here. Because
your words.
Well, anyway, no, I think that's really helpful. And this beer is divine. So let's take another cheers. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed this little one-on-one, and I guess I'll let Dr. Beer close it out.
yeah, so I hope you like this revealing of myself in a way. You like that I try to bridge the time as much as possible. I know you are here for the restorations. I know you can't wait for this project that I'm working on with Lance. And I promise to do my very best to publish it as soon as possible. But it takes a bit time. So let me know in the comments if you like this bridging thing, if we should do it in the future again. And I don't mean on every second week. I mean in a year or so. If so, just let me know. Put your questions into this video. I will revisit it then when it's time and if you liked it. Bye.